Welcome, dear friends, to tonight's bedtime story. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let the stars above guide you into dreams. Each story is filled with magic, kindness, and wonder. Now, snuggle in and let's begin. Tonight's story, The Magic Trickster, follows a clever boy named Jack who loves to play tricks. He meets 6 robbers and promises to teach them his ways, but he has a plan of his own. Let's see how wit and laughter can outsmart even the toughest challenges. Once upon a time, there was a poor farmer who lived with his 3 sons. The 2 eldest were clever and hard-working, but the youngest, Jack, was full of mischief. Jack loved to play tricks, set snares for rabbits, and make people laugh with his funny ideas. One morning, all 3 brothers decided to leave home and seek their fortune. The brothers reached a crossroads and chose different paths. Jack took the loneliest one, through dark woods and muddy hills. By nightfall, he was wet, hungry, and tired. Just when he thought he'd have to sleep under a tree, he saw a faint light in a cottage window. Jack knocked on the door, and an old woman with bleary eyes peered out. "What do you want?" she asked. "A warm supper and a bed," Jack said cheerfully. "You can't stay here," she warned. 6 rough men live here, and if they find you, they'll skin you alive." Jack just grinned. "Better skinned than frozen. I'm staying." The old woman sighed and gave him food, afraid of his boldness. In the morning, Jack woke to find 6 scary robbers standing around his bed. "Who are you?" growled their leader. Jack sat up and said, "I'm a master thief, looking for clever apprentices." The robbers blinked in surprise. "We'll see who's the real master," said their chief. "Prove yourself." A farmer was walking by with a big goat. "Can anyone steal that goat without a fight?" asked Jack. The robbers shook their heads. "Then I'll show you," said Jack. He dropped one of his shoes on the road and hid behind a tree. When the farmer saw it, he said, "If only I had the pair." Then he saw the second shoe and went back for the first, leaving the goat tied to a tree. Quick as lightning, Jack took the goat and vanished into the forest. Later, the farmer came by again, this time leading a sheep. "Who can steal that?" asked Jack. No one dared. So Jack climbed a tree, tied a rope around his waist, and dangled like a hanging man. The farmer gasped. "Saints preserve us! A dead man!" He ran off, but when he came back, there were 2 more hanging men. Jack's clever fakes. Frightened and confused, the farmer left his sheep behind, and Jack led it away, laughing. When the farmer passed again, he was leading a fat bullock. Jack hid in the woods and made goat and sheep noises. "That sounds like my lost animals," said the farmer. He tied his bullock to a tree and ran into the forest. But when he came back, the bullock was gone, and Jack was leading it proudly home. The robbers couldn't believe their eyes. "Jack, you're a genius!" they shouted. They made him their leader and showed him their treasure cave filled with gold and jewels. Jack pretended to be pleased, but he was already planning something clever. One morning, the robbers went to a fair and told Jack to guard the house. "Gladly," he said. After they left, he took the old housekeeper to the treasure cave. "See all this gold?" he said. While she was staring, Jack filled his pockets, locked the door behind her, and left her inside. Then he dressed in fine clothes, took the goat, the sheep, and the bullock, and left for home. On his way, Jack stopped at the farmer's house. "Look what I found wandering in the woods," he said kindly. "Your missing animals." The farmer and his wife cheered with joy. "You're a good man," they said. Jack smiled and gave them a bag of coins. "Keep it," he said, "a gift from luck itself." At sunset, Jack reached his father's house. His parents didn't recognize him in his fine clothes. "Good evening," he said. "May I stay here tonight?" "Our house isn't fit for a fine gentleman," said his mother. Jack laughed. "Don't you know your own son?" Everyone hugged him and cheered. Next morning, Jack told his father, "Go to the landlord and ask for his daughter's hand in marriage for me." "He'll never agree," said the old man. "Tell him I'm a master thief," said Jack, "and I've made my fortune from rogues worse than me." The father sighed, but went anyway. The landlord laughed when he heard the message. "If your son can steal the goose off my spit on Sunday, I'll think about it." Jack grinned when he heard. On Sunday, he dressed as a poor beggar and waited by the kitchen door. When no one was looking, he released 3 hares, one after another. Each time, the servants ran outside chasing them, and while they were gone, Jack slipped in, grabbed the goose, and disappeared. That evening, Jack invited the landlord's family to dinner. When they arrived, there on the table was their very own roast goose. The landlord laughed so hard he could barely speak. "You've outsmarted me, Jack," he said. His daughter blushed. She was already quite fond of him. "Let's see if you can do it again," said the landlord. "Steal my 6 horses from under 6 guards tonight." Jack disguised himself as an old beggar woman carrying 2 bottles. The guards, cold and sleepy, let her in. She offered them a drink, 1 bottle of worn whiskey, 1 bottle laced with sleeping potion. Soon, all 6 guards were snoring. Jack pulled stockings over the horses' hooves and led them away silently. Next morning, Jack rode up proudly on one of the stolen horses, the others following behind. "You win again," laughed the landlord. "But tomorrow I'll ride my best horse from 1 to 3 o'clock. If you can take it from me, my daughter shall be yours." "Done," said Jack, smiling at the blushing lady. The next day, the landlord rode out proudly. Just then, one of his servants ran shouting, "Sir, your wife fell down the stairs. She's badly hurt." The landlord rushed home, leaving his horse tied outside. But when he got home, his wife and daughter were fine, and Jack was already halfway down the road, riding his prize horse. The landlord shook his head. "You are too clever, Jack," he said. "But one last test. If you can steal the sheet from under my wife and me tonight, the wedding will be tomorrow." "Agreed," said Jack. That night, the landlord saw a shadow at the window, Jack's dummy made of straw. "There he is," said the landlord. The straw man fell with a crash. The landlord ran outside shouting. Then, from the doorway, Jack called in the landlord's voice. "Quick, give me the sheet to stop the bleeding." She tossed it out, straight into Jack's hands. When the landlord realized he'd been tricked again, he could only laugh. "There's no beating you, Jack," he said. "You've won fair and square." The next day, there was a grand wedding with music, feasting, and dancing. Jack became a kind husband, a wise son-in-law, and a legend in every village for miles around. And so, Jack the Trickster showed that a clever mind and a kind heart can turn any challenge into a happy ending. With that, our story comes to an end. May your dreams be filled with kindness and wonder. Good night, little dreamers. Until next time, sweet dreams under the stars.